Hello, my snipers. How are you doing today? Well, you know that I am definitely all about mental health. You know, I'm all about people seeing the red flags, the red signs, and little things that you can do to help yourself. Now, as you look at this man right here, you would never believe he's a sociopath. He looks nice, don't he? When you hear him speak, he's going to speak nice. He's going to do all of that. So these are the little things you have to look out for because they do not have a particular kind of look. Like they don't look all mean and angry and stuff. They don't look scary. Something like regular little boys that got the little glasses on. You thinking I'm safe. I am safe. Look at him. So it look like he want to come at you with the So this is a little educational take for you. I'm gonna comment a little bit because certain things he say he lying, but he's supposed to lie. That's what he do. He lie and he manipulate and he admits it. So let's just watch this mind. We're just gonna have a little conversation about his sociopathic ways. Let's go.
Deal.
Um, I'd say it's pretty average, to be honest. If you were on the outside looking in, you would say that it was pretty boring. Because for the most part, I don't what I tend to do now is I tend to just really stick to myself. Because I have to be very careful about how I'm interacting with people and under what context I'm interacting with people. So I tend to limit anything that would be negative for me.
Why do you have to limit yourself?
Um, because if I encounter a certain kind of person, and if I'm talking to you and I sense a level of weakness, um, I get kind of the urge to prey upon that in a way. So in order for me to kind of mitigate that, I definitely limit my social interactions, and I have to make sure it happens underneath the right context. Otherwise, I just I try to stay away from
I have to be fully transparent.
it.
When you reached out to me and I read your diagnoses,
Hmm.
I thought to myself, can I trust him?
Hmm.
Can I give him the platform of our audience who I care deeply about?
Hmm.
Are you going to try to manipulate me? Are you going to try to manipulate our audience? Are those valid concerns?
Those would be valid concerns for sure. But as I said earlier, I would say I like what you do, because definitely people have voices that need to be heard, um, and I would hate to, you know, disturb that process in any way.
When you say prey on somebody, what do
Hmm.
you mean?
So the way it would work for me is, I'll speak to someone. I won't really tell them much about me. They'll tell me about them, and then once they tell me about them, I'll kind of form a personality. I'll exaggerate certain.
That's why I tell you guys time and time again, stop with all this. Oh, I want to be honest up front. And stop telling them all your business. Stop throwing yourselves to the wolves. Stop throwing yourself to the wolves. They use everything against you. And they figure out how can I extract all your energy and make your life hell to benefit me.
certain features about my own personality to match what it is that they're looking to see. And then once I get my goal, whatever that goal is, then I'm done with the situation, and then I move on. And I've had feelings that I was strange, as long as I can remember.
What was it like to feel strange at a young age?
Um, it was a bit interesting, I would say, because you're kind of able to exist on the fringe, and it's kind of like you're on the outside looking in.
Hmm.
Everybody's on the other side of that window pane. So it kind of gives you the freedom to watch and to look and to observe, especially if you're a quiet person naturally. People can kind of forget that you're there.
Did you feel like a different animal, a different species?
No, I thought everyone else was different as a kid. As a kid, I thought they were the weird ones, and
What was weird about them to you?
um, like why are y'all? I guess why do you get so sad at certain things? Why do you get so excited over certain things? Like it's not. I just looked at it like it's not natural. I wasn't really able to relate to other people, and when people would get extremely angry or extremely sad, um, I would say as a kid more so I would actually get annoyed, or if people would get overjoyed, and sometimes people get super excited, they jump up and down, they clap. As a kid, I would get annoyed by that because it's like I don't understand why are you. What's the purpose of this overt display? It doesn't do anything for anyone. Just the fact that you got good news, it doesn't make the good news better if you jump up and down about it. Um, so I sat back and I watched people, and I watched how they were able to do things, and I used this information to outsmart people. I was able to outsmart a lot of my teachers. That's kind of how it started, the manipulation and the lying. I would outsmart a lot of my teachers. I would come up with lies on the spot. Like I would come into class and my teacher would ask, "Where's the homework?" I would tell her, "Oh, my dog, he got rushed to the hospital last night. We were there late until about 3 a.m. and there was this problem and that problem and that problem. And I don't even have a dog, never had a dog."
So would it be correct to say that when you meet somebody, you kind of size them up
Mhm.
and you say, okay, this person shouldn't or should be manipulated?
It's not should or shouldn't be. If I have something that I want to get, then I'm gonna do my best to get it.
Since I walked in here and we started talking,
Mhm.
have you sized me up at all and analyzed any of my weaknesses and how they could be manipulated?
I mean, when I was watching your videos, I thought about it, um, but I wanted this to be kind of like more of an honest format. But no,
Honest.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to, and it's also I don't really gain anything from doing that in this situation anyway.
Can a person ever fully trust a sociopath, though?
I would say that you have to if this
I don't care what he say. It's absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just because you can learn how to control your impulse and your urges, that does not mean if you. It may be a time when you want something, and you're gonna smell that person's weakness out. They're gonna suck all your energy out and get what they can get out of you. Well, let's hear what he say.
is someone that you actually care about, you have to spend time with them and see actually where their head is at. I would say, and I would say if this is, in most cases, you wouldn't even know. To be honest, you wouldn't know until they did something to you. If I'm being honest, so, but if you're meeting someone like me who is gonna, who will tell you that this is what I'm going through, I would say, watch them. Watch and see how it is they react to certain things. See if they, are prone to outbursts. See if they're willing to lie to you. See if they're willing to manipulate you.
So I find it interesting that
Mhm.
you said in order to trust a sociopath,
Mhm.
you have to watch them, observe them,
Yeah.
and understand their behavior.
Mhm.
Exactly. And this is the one thing that we don't do. Well, a lot of people don't do. They fall in love so fast, they forget to watch them before they fall in love. They forget to look for the red flags before they fall in love. You have to know if this person, the littlest thing they lied on, is never a joke. That lie is just to see what are you willing to take. Everything they do to you in the beginning is to see what you would go for, what you would not go for. They need to know, are you a good source of supply? They need that. Are you a good source of supply or not? Because if you are not a good source of supply, I have to move on. So observe, and remember, it's not just like your mate. It could be a friend, a relative. It could be anybody, because anybody could be a sociopath, antisocial, narcissistic. You got a lot of them out there. A lot of you guys put yourself out there because you're looking for something. That's how you feel. And you're figuring, oh, I found somebody, not knowing that I think I ain't looking that hard. Let me do my homework first. Let me see little things. And let me act on it. As soon as you see it, you act on it and you leave. Or if not, you have now became supply.
So it's almost like you want people to act like you, or you only understand the world from your perspective.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it's that I necessarily want people to act like me. I look at it like it's more so about your own safety in a way. If you're dealing with someone that does have those kind of issues, they do have strong urges. That's where the observation point comes in, because you can't always perceive certain things like that based off of emotions. I'm really good at faking emotions, so you wouldn't, if you're going off of emotional basis, you wouldn't know.
When would you say is the last time you've manipulated somebody?
It's been about a year.
A year?
Yeah, about a year.
How have you gone a year without that?
I kind of limit my social interactions. I make sure I'm not dealing with certain kinds of people.
Did you always understand the negative effect manipulation can have on others?
No, I didn't always understand why people had an adverse reaction to it. Because in a way I kind of looked at it like a game. And you lost.
Do you feel ashamed about people you hurt in the past?
Shame, not necessarily, but I do look at it as being inadequate.
You being inadequate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It's low frequency. Low frequency actions, low frequency emotions. That's really all. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it doesn't really help anyone. I guess it serves me. I get to fulfill a sensation, but then I have to fulfill the sensation again. So you could say, even for me, it's not working. So when you kind of think about it logically like that, and you gain insight, which is the issue, people that have that diagnosis, it's hard for them to have insight in terms of what other people are experiencing. So you have to just gain a level of insight, I would say.
What are all of your diagnoses?
All that matters is marrying Leah.
I just want this wedding.
So when it comes to antisocial personality disorders, specifically, you can see a lot of overlap with different conditions. So for me, I have bipolar disorder. There's the antisocial personality disorder, and then also I have some traits of borderline personality disorder. Typically, a person with the antisocial personality disorder, if they're getting diagnosed, it's because either someone asked them to go that was close to them, that's hurt by their actions, or they did something illegal, and now they have to see someone.
Why did you seek out therapy in the first place?
Because I was going through, for quite some time, I was going through basically bipolar episodes. And it was unusual for me, because there would be times where I'm like feeling a level of happiness, like this kind of overt happiness, and then there would be just this deep depression where I don't want to leave bed, or I'll be intensely angry, or I'll be so numb that basically, I wish I was dead in certain circumstances. And that was unusual for me, because throughout my life I was used to not really feeling too much. And I do feel like, the bipolar disorder kind of resulted from the antisocial personality disorder. I feel like it came from me just, I guess, trying too hard to feel like I was a regular person. And then it never works for too long, because in order for you to have people close to you for a prolonged amount of time, they're gonna find out that something's wrong.
Did you have any fear with telling the world your diagnoses?
No, because I've already been called, all kinds of things. So I don't think it really makes a difference to me. It doesn't change my life in any way, no.
Do you have any type of emotional reaction when people call you those negative things?
It depends. You know, because if it's something where I guess you could say I'm trying to be genuine, because I'm not always manipulating and lying to people with the intent of deceiving them.
Thank you,
Sometimes I'll
Lippitt.
do it to make them comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm putting in all this effort to be something to make you more comfortable, um, and it's not received, that can have an effect on me.
You smiled a few times in this interview.
Yeah,
Is that something you tell yourself to do to make me feel more comfortable?
yeah, I smile a lot. Especially if I'm in regular conversation, you were to see me on the street, yeah, I'll be smiling a lot. It disarms people. It makes them more comfortable.
Do you have the capability of feeling empathy for others?
Now, I just told somebody the other day, I forgot who I was talking to. And they were saying how for to be feminine, you have to smile a lot. And I'm like, no, because that's fake, it's phony, and you're lying. What are you smiling for? Like, what is the laugh? Like, what is the joke? Smiling faces, smiling faces. They pretend to be your friend. No, I laugh for something that's funny. So when you see somebody coming to you and they so nice and they smile so much and they so courteous, you better get to looking.
Not in the same way that an average person would. So, say for example, if someone came up to you and they told you, "Oh, my grandma just died last night," you may feel intrinsically sad when they tell you that. You may feel sensations almost as if your own grandmother passed away. For me, it's not like that. I won't say that I don't care. That's harsh, but it doesn't make me sad to hear that at all. So instead, what I'll have to do is I'll have to logically understand that, okay, this is an event that people typically get sad at. So I would have to find words of confidence to give them. I'm sorry that happened to you. I know that must be hard. Is there anything I could do? Would you like to talk? Things like that. My grandfather passed when I was about I was 5 or 6. I remember sitting on my father's lap and he was crying, and I remember wiping the tears off his face and telling him it was gonna be okay. I understood that my grandfather was gone and he wasn't gonna be coming back, but at the same time, I didn't understand why all the tears. I would say I ended up becoming very perceptive to people. Um, it's not like a thing where sometimes people, like, I don't know if you can do it, but people can walk into a room and kind of feel the mood without even really interacting or looking at anybody in the room. Um, I can't necessarily do that, so I'll have to walk in. I'll have to look at people, observe, any body language, and then from there, I would go off of that. So just all of that, basically, that is just simulated emotions that I've been using.
When was the last time you felt happy?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Truly, I don't know.
When was the last time you pretended like you felt happy?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, all the time. Because it makes people uncomfortable if they're around someone. Like, how do you not, experience joy?
Would it be correct to call you a sociopath?
Um, I mean, if you thinking in terms of scientific terms, sociopathy, they kind of discarded that term a while ago. But in terms of what most people understand it to be, I would say yes. Layman's terms, yes.
Do you have the desire to have a close relationship and maybe even get married in the future?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. That's something that I debate with myself, and I'm not 100% sure if I want to get married and have children. Um, the notion of it seems reasonably nice to me, I would say, but I don't know if it would be 100% possible, because when you speak about romantically, it's difficult to get people to understand that it's people start to feel inconsequential when I tell them it's, it's not necessarily, it's not really you. Like if I like a person, me liking a person is based off of traits that I notice within them that I feel like would be basically beneficial, for me going down the road. And I would like to
Again, key word. They look for certain traits in people. They look for certain traits in people. See, the purpose of going to therapy is not to change them or for them to see their ways. The purpose of therapy is so for them to truly understand you have a choice of right and wrong. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. You may feel that what you said is what you said and didn't hurt nobody. You may feel that because you don't have no feelings, you can do whatever you want to people, but that's wrong. Everybody knows right from wrong. You didn't feel if a officer was standing in a store, you didn't feel that, well, let me go rob this store because I have no feelings. I don't care. No, they know right from wrong. And that's basically out of therapy, years of therapy, that they're gonna have to learn to say, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Because to them, this is right, this is right, this is right. And they start making up stuff in their head to justify their wrong actions and turn it on you. You made me do this, you made me do that, you made me do this, you made me do that. It's a game.
explore those traits further. So it's hard to kind of explain to someone that, is in an emotional sense, in a romantic sense, I'm not super connected. For me, it's a sense of duty and commitment. So I'm gonna do things for you because you are who you are to me. And but people, they in relationships, they want more. They want a little bit more from you. So it gets to the point where I'll basically put that mask on to make them happy. But I can't.
Keyword, they will put the mask on. A lot of people you are talking to have a mask on. Don't go pouring your heart out. Don't go falling in love. Don't go showing these people how beautiful you are, how sweet you are, how good of a heart that you have. That I'll do anything for anybody. Or naive you are, because people smell that out. They smell it out, and it's just like you just gave them your whole life because they will now be controlling you through everything that you just said. When they want something, when they want sympathy from you, they know, oh my gosh, she's so sentimental. I want this out of that person. So I'm going to act like something happened so you could be sentimental and then you could feel sorry for me. Or if she's feeling bad that day, I'm going to pick up some points. I'm going to think of a joke or something that maybe somebody said or I can use. Because remember, for them to do things, they have to pick up on other people who have done that behavior and then they mimic it. So they're going to say, no, let me give her a joke. But it all depends on what they want from you or how they want you to feel. They are the puppet masters. They pull your strings.
Can't hold it up forever. So they find out that there are some inconsistencies there in terms of the emotions. And when you're trying to get someone to see past the
Hey,
emotional
Sonia.
aspect and just look at it in the sense of how I look at it, I'm committed to you. They don't really. It's hard to kind of explain that. People start to feel like they're inconsequential. It's not really me that matters. If I want to connect to someone, um, like in a relationship, for example, if I meet someone that I have an interest in romantically, like I don't like you the same way, like how people like each other. I don't feel any emotional attachment to that. So in order to make someone comfortable and lack of emotional attachment, I have to wear a mask. Like I have to remind myself to tell my family members I love them. I have to remind myself to maintain in contact with my friends and things like that. So it can be off-putting, if I'm not exaggerating a bit.
So I want to make sure I'm interpreting
Mhm.
interpreting this correctly. You see that they have personality traits that will benefit you,
Mhm.
but then you also want to do things for them to keep those personality traits around because in the long run that's more beneficial than not having that person around.
Exactly.
It's almost like a math equation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It kind of is like a math equation. So I would say there's definitely, like anybody else, some people I like a little bit more than others,
Mhm.
of course. So some people I would try a little bit harder, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. It is a transactional thing for me. People, they'll be very wary of you. So anybody that I tell they're very wary of me.
Is that
But
warranted?
is it warranted? I would say yes. I would say yes, because you do have to be relatively careful when you're dealing with someone who truly has an antisocial personality disorder. It's not necessarily a thing where there's gonna be physical violence, or you're gonna be hurt or anything like that. But if that person doesn't have insight as to how their actions actually affect other people, I would say the likelihood for you being manipulated, even if it's in a small way, is going to be very high, because most people with sociopathic tendencies, they're not going to always formulate super grand schemes to take advantage of people. Sometimes it would just be, I'm looking to get lunch today, so let me manipulate this person over here so I can get $10 and go get lunch.
The fact that you're talking so openly about all of this that means that you're not really concerned with wearing a mask anymore.
On the mask.
So it's just, I've come to a point where it's just I have to accept it, that this is who I am, um, and trying to do too much to change that is where I start seeing negative things come into play.
Do you
They have to keep that mask on. They have to keep that mask on. And you guys have to also remember there are different levels of any one of them personality disorders. There are different levels. You have some that's very dangerous. Some of them psychopaths, the one that wants to take you out of here. There are some that's manipulative. But either way, it's to destroy you. So they want to destroy you living, or they want to destroy you and do things to you to take you out of here. But it's the way they do it. It's the satisfaction that they get. See, the only real thing they don't really get emotions, they get satisfaction. See, that's the difference. They don't get emotional about things because they don't have it. They don't feel the way people feel. And people may not like them, but you have to remember, in life, it must be a balance. If you have empathic people who can feel a lot, then you have to have a person that don't feel a lot, who has no emotions. That's how life goes. So, same way, if you know it's plenty of empathic people, then you know it's plenty of non-emotional people. One person who feel too much, one person who doesn't feel nothing. So before you don't know which spectrum that they on. You don't know which level that they are on. So you gotta be very careful to get away, because you don't want to find out which one are they. You don't know what's behind that smile, what's behind the muscles, what's behind that beautiful, pretty uh uh face, or that beautiful body, or woo, she looking so good. You do not know. That's why they test the waters. You have to learn how to test the waters too. You have to do certain things. You may have to say certain things to see what their reaction will be. Is it a genuine hug? Is it a genuine I feel sorry for you? Is it a genuine what can I do for you? You may not know on the first run. You may have to know again. But do all this before, the purpose of me saying this is do all this before you fall in love. You hear people too many times, they go, oh, such and such is nothing but a big old liar. Yeah, they are. That's what they do. And I ain't gonna say nothing. He know I'm lying. I knew he was lying, or I knew she. Well, if you knew these things, why did you stay a victim? They are not going to change. Well, all they do is this to me and that to me. Then you're dealing with somebody that's on the spectrum. You need to go. They're not going to change. Now, if they choose to get help to know what's right from wrong, there is very little, but some of them do that.
You want to feel like a regular person.
I would say I wanted to at one point, but I've kind of let go of that more so recently, and it has been helping because I find that the more I try to fit in, the easier it becomes for me to do negative things, manipulate, lie, and become angry, you know, ridiculously angry.
What is your motivation not to do that stuff?
Um, it, I just feel like it's too much chaos that I'm putting out there in the world, um, and that's really it. I just feel like it's too much chaos, and that's just not a good thing.
Is that something you realized independently, or did therapy help?
I would say therapy definitely helped me realize that, because speaking with my therapist for the 2 years, she helped me realize that a lot of the things I was doing was basically it was all kind of self-serving, um, and at a certain point you do have to gain a level of insight, um, and realize that you're making your own life harder.
What would you say to the people you've heard in the past?
Um, I would say I wouldn't even say that I hope you can forgive me. I would say it's more so I hope you can forgive yourself. There's not anything wrong with you. Um, you are still perfectly fine as a person. And I would say basically, I won't say don't take it so personally, don't look at it like there's something wrong with you. It was something that was wrong with me, basically.
Is it still wrong with you?
Um, I struggle with it. That's why I limit myself in certain situations.
Do you view yourself as better than other people?
Yeah, definitely. But I do my best to kind of combat that, because that comes from outsmarting people. You get this sense of inflated sense of self, almost narcissistic, I would say.
Do you believe you're better than me?
Yep. Yes, he
Um,
does.
I would
Yeah,
say based off of my belief
he,
system,
he,
no.
he lying. Yes,
Simply
he
because of the
does.
work that you do. Um, Again, not really an emotional thing. It's just the work that you do. Um, People benefit from it. So,
What is your belief system?
um, I just certain things are right and certain things are wrong, and that's it.
Is that
Told you.
something you taught yourself, or was that learned through therapy?
It was a
Therapy.
combination. It was a combination. Because my therapist would help me. She would help me navigate through the confusion. Like I would come to her with certain problems. Like I said this to that person, and they reacted to me like this. Why? Why did that happen? I don't understand. I thought that I was emulating the best I could. So it would be things like that, and she would teach me the difference between just emulating and exaggerating versus trying to more so genuinely connect with people, and that's where the whole understanding, like we mentioned earlier, someone tells you that their grandmother passed, you have to realize and you have to recognize that that can be a horrible event for people.
Do you have any fear that once you share your diagnoses, people will always be skeptical about you?
I mean, that's not necessarily a fear. It's a given for me. It's a given. I would say I'm more surprised when people don't judge it.
Do you have any fears?
Fears. I would say the fear of being inadequate. That's the main one. The fear of being mediocre. I don't wanna die feeling like I didn't do anything, basically. And that's really my only fear.
How would you define inadequate?
Um just having no benefit to the world, basically.
Do you think most people are inadequate?
I won't say most because there's quite a bit of people in the world, and I haven't met most, but I would say, yeah, there's a good amount of people that I would say are inadequate.
Is that why you're okay with manipulation? Because you view many people as inadequate?
No, that's not the main reason. Even if I view the person as adequate and I'm able to still manipulate them, that's like bonus points. I mean, we're all self-motivated. Like, we're all a bit narcissist. We're all a bit, we all are a bit,
But
psychopathic.
Where does it go from the typical amount of narcissist,
Mhm.
the typical amount of self-driven,
Mm-hmm.
to, okay, you now have antisocial personality disorder?
I can't speak to that. That would be like a person-to-person basis, But it's traits that we all have. In order for you to survive in the world, you have to be a bit narcissist. Everybody does things that are self-serving. Eating and drinking are self-serving. We're literally killing the planet with our eating habits, for example.
I figure you throw that
We're
in.
killing the planet with our transportation habits. People do things that are self-serving, so it's not inherently a bad thing as long as.
See, when you speak to people on any of these spectrum, sociopath, psychopaths, narcissistic personality disorder, I'm not going to just say narc no more. They always have to throw in some type of intelligence. Like, he couldn't just say, when he spoke upon self-serving, you see how he's still playing mind games a little because that's all he knows how to do. But I thank him for just even having a conversation. But you see how quick he threw in, we're destroying the planet, we're doing this. So sort of kind of he wants to justify. So if you notice, a lot of people, when you're speaking to them and they want to justify stuff with like knowledge or education, because now he wants to make himself seem smart. See, this is how a lot of people get caught with these hotep hustlers, these nature boys, TKOs and pharaohs. They learn their craft by throwing something intelligent at you. So if he'd have been like, yeah, you're right, we are destroying the planet with our eating habits, he would have had him hook, line, and sink. So the therapist was good enough to know just to let him just talk. Because he wants to show you he's smart. That's what most of them want to show you. They are smart because being smart is logical. It's a scam. It's called, intellectual hustle. So a lot of them do that intellectual hustle to get by, to get jobs. They depend on how you want to use it.
As the things that you're doing that are self-serving aren't resulting in negative outcomes for other people as well as yourself.
So what makes you care about having a negative impact on other people? Is
He
that
doesn't.
intrinsic?
He doesn't
No.
care.
No, it's just
He don't
it's just
care.
a matter of you're causing unnecessary problems for
Exactly.
other people, and I look at it from a very logical perspective because a lot of things, a lot of trauma is passed down. So if I do something to you, for example, and you carry that throughout the rest of your life, I don't know if you have a wife or kids, but let's say you go on to have a wife and kids, and now your trauma from the event that you had with me filters into that. Now your wife starts to get a level of trauma, your kids start to get a level of trauma, other people that are close to you start to get to a level of trauma. Anyone you meet, it's possible the same thing can happen. So I look at it from that perspective. It's not an emotional thing. It really is a logical thing.
What was it like before you were so self-aware?
I would say it was very confusing because I didn't quite understand why it was. I didn't feel the way regular people felt. And I would often do things that would be, categorized as sensation chasing. So, you would engage in illegal activities, for example, you know, and if you don't get caught, that's quite a rush. It's quite a rush to not get caught doing something. Um, that's things that I used to do, lying and manipulating people. That gave me a sense of power in a way because I can't necessarily feel anything myself in a way. So it gave me a sense of power to know that I can control other people's feelings.
Do you think you will manipulate somebody in the future?
Yes,
Not
sir. Yes, he will.
not to the extent that I did it before, at least. I could see
Yeah.
myself doing it if I'm engaging in a business deal.
Yeah,
It
right.
might be beneficial
He
for
gonna
me
do
to
it
get you
again.
to raise that bottom line, you know, stuff like that. If which is manipulation. It's just
Now, it might be the way that our collective minds have been
hmm
trained through mainstream media,
hmm
but when you say that, my first thought is that's what a manipulator would say.
yeah.
Should I ever lose that skepticism? Should the viewer ever lose that skepticism when interacting with somebody with antisocial personality disorder?
Mm.
You gotta know. Like I said, the people that I've known, I've had my friends for in between 8 and 13 years, 12, 13 years. So it's like they're not too concerned about that because they
Hey,
basically they know that
Yolanda.
this is a relationship that's been pre-existing. The people that are close to me, I don't really do anything
Mm-hmm.
to upset those people because that's not beneficial to me to upset the people that are close to me.
Were you or are you ever a risk to be violent?
Um,
Um,
if you cross certain lines, for sure,
Now they
definitely.
got lines and
It can get
boundaries.
to a period where it's like I shut down. Like say if we were to get into a heated argument and you're yelling and screaming, I'll probably just hit you. I won't talk too much. Um,
What is that line for you, though?
I don't tolerate disrespect in
Mm.
any shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the main thing that will get me angry the quickest.
What do you
Sure.
perceive as disrespect?
Um,
Anything.
if you show any disregard for me,
Mm-mm.
basically,
Anything he.
so kind of the same things that I would do to another person, more or less,
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like an ego thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I do work on.
So I don't mean this with any disrespect,
hmm
but would it be correct to call you a hypocrite then?
To call me a hypocrite, um, I would say yeah, in a way. And that's exactly why I want to work on my problems and do more positive. That's why I do my best now to not manipulate people and
To
lie to
try.
them and
Mm-hmm.
do things like that. What's actually at stake.
How would you explain what it is like to have your diagnoses to somebody who has the typical range of emotions?
Um, hmm, I would compare it to that first moment when you wake up in the morning and the world is kind of just an empty canvas and there's not much really happening yet. So you're just super neutral. That's really how I would describe it.
How do you look at yourself?
I just look at myself as just pretty normal, pretty average. I think the media kind of overly sensationalizes antisocial personality disorders in general. They make it seem like most of us are just murderers and we're just off the hinge, which in some cases, rare cases, yeah, can be true. But most people, because all mental health issues exist on the spectrum. So most people you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna see that are gonna exhibit these traits are gonna be high functioning.
Mm-hmm.
So you would
Mm-hmm.
career fields like doctors, CEOs, lawyers, you typically see them engage in those fields because a lot of that stuff is logical. It's not really emotional based. And the way you're dealing with people, again, is emotional based. It's all logic. So you'll find, people like me in those fields.
Are you proud of yourself for anything?
Hmm. I mean, I do have a sense of pride. I mean, I would say I'm proud of myself for sitting here right now, because this isn't something that I would normally do. I'm sure even people that I know and people in my family are going to watch this and they may be surprised to hear that, I do have certain issues. Um,
What would you like to say to those who are close to you who are learning about this for the first time?
uh, it's still me, you know. Um, Hopefully they're not offended by anything that I say. A lot of people that I've only actually told maybe two people about it.
See, the thing to this is, hey, don't forget, guys, this is finished. You're gonna have to check the replay, but you have to remember, even though we thankful that they're telling us what's going on in their mind, a lot of us know. We know. We just waiting for you to tell us, or we told you time and time again, and you was like, whatever. But you have to put in your own work and learn how to protect yourself from these people. Just ask, share. How are you doing, darling? So you have to learn how to protect yourself. That's what life is really all about, protecting yourself. You know, if it's cold outside, you know you're going to put a coat on, right? Certain things you know, but sometimes what's going on in your life, you are like going through something or you lonely, so you let your guards down. In this world, you cannot let your guards down until you are for sure. Not saying that that person's going to last forever, not saying you're going to be together. And remember, the purpose of this video, it says in plain sight. So plain sight does not mean you're going to marry. It means these are people you see every single day. Let me let him finish that, and then I'll say what the rest I have to say. It's almost done.
And they have, people typically have adverse reactions to it because people start to feel like, oh, well, you don't care about me, right? And that's not necessarily the case. I just have my own way of going about it.
What is the most important thing somebody can learn from this interview?
Um, I would say I did this more so for people with, antisocial personality disorder. I didn't necessarily do it for people that don't have it, because I want people that suffer from it to go get the help. I want them to learn how to use all those techniques that we use to lie, to manipulate, to hurt. Use that to benefit people, if you can, because it has a collective effect. That's really how you have to look at it. You have to look at it in a logical way. It has a collective effect, and it makes your life more enjoyable. People will be more so willing to, I guess, accept who you are. And again, it's not really an emotional thing. It makes it easier for you to live life when you're not having to constantly hide and, you know, lurk within the shadows.
What do you think when you hear the term sociopath?
Um, Regular person with less emotions. To be meditation habits. It's all every people do things that are.
See, this young man, does he look like he'll get over on you? You'll see him like, oh, He's such a nice kid, not knowing that he gonna get you. That's why I said this is in plain sight. Your next door neighbor, it could be your pastor, it could be people wherever. It's a lot of them out there because there are a lot of empaths. The life is a balance. You can't have one without the other. So if you have a lot of people to go, oh, I'm so empathic, then you must know that there's a lot of people who don't have emotions at all. One feel too much emotions, one feel none. That's just how life is. So you don't be going around, oh, I'm so independent, I make my own money. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Don't speak upon the word love, love, love too much. They don't know what you're talking about. They don't know how you feel. And because they don't know how you feel, because they don't know what love feel like, they're going to take that away from you. They're going to take your love and turn it into sorrow and misery. They're going to make you cry just because you know how it feels to be happy and I don't. So, like I said, these videos, we're going to be having more videos like this with real people, even though Nature Nut is a real, but Nature Nut is maybe a little bit higher. He looked like he will get over on people. He looked weird to me. Oh, but like Nature Nut may be a higher level one, but Nature Boy won't be expecting him. See, sometimes being that is full of narcissists and full of NPDs and sociopaths, psychopaths, there's different levels to it. But sometimes you bump into another you. Sometimes if you a knock, you might bump into another narc. Can you imagine? You do have two knocks in relationships. You do have two sociopaths in relationships. You do have two sociopaths in relationships. We're gonna start breaking down, what each and everyone is, because it's a little difference between them, but in all reality, y'all all in the same boat to me. Y'all all in the same boat to me. I got to be very careful. We all been there. We all got our hearts broken. A lot of people got their hearts broken, not knowing that you was dealing with somebody on a lower spectrum. But let's say Nature Boy was for to meet this one. Nature Boy don't know that man ain't got no feelings or whatever. Shoot. They both sit up there looking for each other weaknesses and stuff. So like I said, we will be going into more of these type of subjects because I have to educate you people. So this video is for fair use, for educational and research purposes, and I will definitely catch you guys. Huh? Well, and you say that, you know, but imagine when Nature Boy walks around when he was really healthy with that mask on. That's how he was able to get all of them women. And But the thing is, anybody, I don't care if you can have a lot of friends too. You just have to be careful. It's a cruel world out there. It's a cruel world. And sometimes parents, some of them disorders you created. A lot of them are not born like that. Some of them you created. You probably created them by telling them yes. Or you probably created them by saying the word no too often. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Oh, I love you so much. You is my this. So now they think in the world have to treat them like that. Then you might keep saying no to that child and abusing that child and not treating that child right. And they don't have no outlet. So what happens is they disassociate themselves. They disassociate themselves. And that's how you get narcissistic people. That's how you get people who has no emotions and no feelings. Somewhere in their childhood, they disconnected. They learned, I had this feeling. I would never want to feel this feeling again. So they disassociate themselves from their feelings. Some of them learn, like he said in the beginning, I didn't do my homework. And then I told my teacher my cat died, but I really don't have a cat. Then he realized, oh my gosh, I could just say these things and they believe me. See, even when I work with kids, whatever they tell me, they know for a fact. I'm a double check. I double check everything. Get in a habit of, if you can, double check everything. If you're able to, some things you just can't. Or remember the things that they say and then bring it back up again. Hey, baby. And then see, they say the same thing. Witness a mom say, when you have company, it's your house, your rules. Difference say, if you're a guest, people supposed to do what you want them to do. Oh, okay. Yeah. So sometimes remember what these people are saying. Take a little bit of time, ask them the same question in a different way, see if you get the same answer, or see would they correct you with this. And like, nah, I didn't say that. This is what you know what I'm saying? It's little the same way they find ways to figure you out and to get over, you better do it. See, in a sense, we may not want to admit it, but the same way an empath is here to teach you stuff, the same way a non-emotional is here to teach you things. Both works together. So no matter what, that person's supposed to be in charge. See, sometimes, like I said, a lot of these people, they was made that way from something that happened in their childhood. So in that case, don't feel sorry for them, because they don't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry that happened to you, but a lot of them, once they disassociate themselves, in their mind, they got superpower. So why you feeling? Oh, well, that person parents passed away, or like nature nut. I said nature butt. Well, he is a butt, but um, oh, when you think about all these things that happen to these kids, you don't understand. They good, but you're the empathic one, so you feel the way you feel. But they throw away. They don't have no emotions and stuff no more. So there's no need to feel sorry for them because they can't feel. Empathic people, listen to what I'm saying. You do not have to feel sorry for them anymore, because they threw that away. They just used them stories so you could trauma bond. I want to trauma bond with this person, but I really threw away all them emotions. I don't have none. I'm going to destroy your life. I just want you to know. But I'm going to trauma bond you with this story. So stop feeling sorry for these people. Once they become a narcissist, sociopath, a narcissistic or whatever, please remember, you don't need to feel sorry for them. You don't need to help them, because to them, they have a superpower now. They feel like they are a super person right now. Because I'm going to do whatever I want to do to you. So why are you feeling sorry for them? They're going to drag you through the mud, baby. They're going to drag you through the mud. Like I said, we will continue having these conversations to elevate our people, to educate our people. So, we can have a little happier life. And maybe you could save like somebody who's dealing with people, that you may meet somebody and go, oh no, girl, you better run. No, I mean, for real, run. And then just start putting on these videos. If somebody don't believe you, start finding videos. Say, see, he act like that. I noticed he did this. I noticed he did that. I noticed these things. So once you don't just say it to her, you look for the evidence. You show her the evidence compared to his behavior or her behavior. And if they still want to go and be around that person, it could be a friend, a parent, whatever, then it's on them. Don't come crying to me. I got feelings and emotions, but I know how to cut them off for bullshit. Well, you guys have a great day. We will continue this. And I see you next time. Peace.